Hello everyone, and welcome back to the official YouTube channel of Amit Ranjan. Today, we have a very important and sensitive topic to discuss. We'll be delving into the heart-wrenching issue of the suicide cluster in Kota, Rajasthan. This is a topic that has been widely reported in the media and is deeply concerning. Our aim today is to shed light on the situation, its causes, and what can be done to address it. Let's begin by understanding the gravity of the situation. Kota, often referred to as the coaching capital of India, is a city in Rajasthan where thousands of students flock every year to prepare for competitive exams. While it's a place of hope and ambition for many, it has also gained notoriety for a disturbing trend: a cluster of suicides among young students. The suicide cluster in Kota is a public health emergency. It is different because it is occurring throughout the year. The statistics are alarming, and each number represents a tragic loss of young lives. But let's not forget that behind these numbers are real people, with dreams and aspirations. So, why is this happening? There are several factors contributing to this crisis. Academic pressure. The intense competition and rigorous study schedules place immense pressure on students, leading to stress and anxiety. Parental expectations. High expectations from parents can be overwhelming for students, often leaving them feeling like they've failed if they don't meet these expectations. Isolation. Many students are far from home, isolated from their families and friends, which can lead to feelings of loneliness and depression. Lack of emotional support. The focus on academics often overshadows the importance of mental health support, leaving students without proper guidance when they need it most. It's crucial to acknowledge that institutions and the government play a pivotal role in addressing this crisis. Steps have been taken in recent years to improve the situation, including the introduction of counseling services and mental health awareness programs. However, much more needs to be done to create a supportive environment for these young minds. With the 2023 tally of suicides in Kota touching 26, Rajiv Dasgupta of the Center of Social Medicine and Community Health, School of Social Sciences, JANU, explains to Rama Nagarajan that it is time to put a public health lens on the problem. Let's have some brief understanding of this social problem with the help of some question and answer session. How can suicides be compared to a disease outbreak? The US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention defines suicide cluster as a group of an outbreak suicides, suicide attempts, or self-harm events that occur closer together in time and space than would normally be expected in a given community. In principle and practice, this aligns to the WHO definition of an outbreak. The Kota situation quite clearly is a suicide cluster. In specific, this is a case of a point cluster, or spatial temporal cluster, where a greater than expected number of suicides occurs within a time period in a specific location. Contagion is best understood as the situation where one person's suicide, due to its circumstances and the publicity around it, triggers the risk of suicidal ideation, suicide attempts and/or deaths by suicide in others who are already vulnerable to suicidal thoughts or behaviors, leading to suicide clusters. This is certainly at play here. What makes the Kota cluster of suicides different from student suicides reported from across India? Several states such as Telangana, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu have initiated helplines for suicide prevention when school leaving and/or entrance examination results are announced. The suicide cluster in Kota needs to be understood differently since these events are occurring not at a specific point in time, but through the year in preparation for examinations. Not just that, all of it is occurring in a single city in a very unique setting of residential coaching centers. This calls for very specific systems responses. How would a public health response be different from the kind of things being tried right now? Suicide clusters among young students such as in Kota are a matter of not just concern but tremendous urgency. It calls for advanced preparation to be vigilant for suicide, and have strategies in place to forestall possible contagion and the formation of clusters. This entails putting in place a suicide cluster response plan comprising 6 specific activities. Surveillance to identify and monitor occurrence of suicidal acts, information sharing between relevant agencies to ensure consistency of response, media issues to ensure responsible reporting, bereavement support to help those bereaved and affected by suicide, prevention to reduce risk of further suicides, monitoring and review to assess the impact of the response, what has been learnt and to inform future course of actions. Has such a public health response been tried anywhere and how well has it worked? A much-cited example is the 3-tier Tomorrow project in Nottingham, UK, that was developed in response to a local suicide cluster. It was set up in connection with a cluster of suicides between February 2011 and October 2012. A bereaved mother set up a self-help group in collaboration with NHS to successfully halt the suicide contagion. The generic steps included relevant and accessible information resources, community meetings to inform different groups about the risk of suicide, warning signs, how to respond and where to go for help, and clinical support delivered by therapists following self-referral. Is there any example of a public health approach to tackling suicides in India? India has just initiated the National Suicide Prevention Strategy, NSPS, which aims to reduce the number of suicides in the country by 10% by 2030. Two specific targets are to establish efficient suicide surveillance systems in the next 3 years, and to create mental health outpatient clinics that offer suicide prevention services under the district mental health program within 5 years. It must be underscored that suicide clusters are uncommon. Kota is a glaring example though. Suicides are preventable and need a public health approach, rather than knee-jerk quick fixes. The causes of the causes are rooted in the competitive education that millions of young people are facing. Addressing that is a larger societal goal. Responding to suicide clusters such as the one in Kota is a public health imperative. If you or someone you know is struggling with these issues, please remember that there is help available. Reach out to a counselor, a teacher, or a trusted friend. You are not alone, and there is no shame in seeking support. Conclusion. In conclusion, the suicide cluster in Kota is a tragic reality that we must address collectively as a society. It's not just about statistics, it's about human lives and their well-being. We can make a difference by raising awareness, advocating for better mental health services, and offering support to those in need. Thank you for joining me today as we explored this critical issue. Let's work together to ensure that no more young lives are lost to this crisis. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel to help spread awareness. Together, we can make a positive change.